Are you leading on instinct or insight? Introducing Ascend 360, the exclusive leadership assessment tool used by top business owners, pastors, managers, and entrepreneurs to grow their impact and lead with clarity. Ascend 360 combines the power of personality profiling, communication analysis, and goal-oriented behavior into one easy-to-understand report that shows you exactly how to lead better, faster, and smarter. If you're ready to improve team performance, boost your leadership confidence, and unlock your next level, start today free of charge at terrywilson3.com/leadership. That's terrywilson3.com/leadership. Ascend 360. Clarity that leads. Leadership that lasts.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
I had a major conflict with a passive, aggressive colleague. How did I handle it? Well, I stormed into my boss's office. I just kind of went up one side of him and down the other.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com. TerryWilson3.com. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
Episode 670 explores a moment almost every leader eventually faces. The day their default communication style stops working. My guest, Brenda Hooper, shares a defining experience from early in her career. Raised in a no-nonsense, in-your-face household, she carried what she now calls the old Yeller approach into the workplace. It worked until it didn't. One tense conflict with a superior became a turning point that forced her to re-examine everything she believed about leadership, communication, and respect. What followed wasn't just personal growth. It sparked a lifelong pursuit of understanding how better conversations lead to better resolutions, and how better resolutions build stronger companies, healthier cultures, and more resilient communities. This episode isn't about being softer. It's about being smarter. It's about learning the skill of conversation as a leadership tool, and why emotional intelligence is not weakness, but leverage. If you lead people, manage teams, run a business, or simply want better outcomes in difficult moments, this conversation we had is for you. So stay tuned. For every business owner and leader who has ever replayed a conversation in their head for 3 days, rewrote an email 5 times, or postponed a one-on-one because you thought, oh man, this is going to get awkward. Well, I've got someone today that's in the studio with us, Brenda Hooper, founder of Discussions by Design. Brenda is a chartered mediator and executive coach who helps leaders build stronger teams through better conversations, especially when tension rises, emotions run high, and the stakes feel real. So what I love about Brenda's work is not only is it good theory, it's practical. Understanding your conflict style, learning how to stay calm and clear under pressure, and turning resistance into results so your culture can just get better. And culture today, in today's world especially, is a premium that we are all striving for, is better culture. your team gets healthier, and your business can grow without drama running the show, which is always nice. So Brenda, welcome to the podcast. It's so good to have you on.
Thank you so much, Terry, for having me. And it took a while for us to get our schedules in sync, but here we are. And I'm just so pleased to be here.
Hey, life happens, doesn't it? But we just roll with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Which, I mean, that's what leaders need to do, right? Life happens, you got to roll.
Absolutely. Just roll with the punches. So let me just get right to what got you into what you're doing. Give me a little bit about your origin story. You know, why are you in this space?
How long do we have? Okay. So I would say I'll give you my story in two different layers, and I think it will help the listeners in terms of connecting the two. Way back when, in another lifetime in my work, long before I got into mediation and dispute resolutions and all things conflict, I had a major conflict with a passive aggressive colleague. She happened to be the boss's wife. So I didn't have a lot of, influence, let's say.
I could see that.
And so what had happened was I was on holidays for 2 weeks, came back, and my office, and I managed an office, was completely rearranged, like everything. The filing cabinets, the pictures of my family on my desk were like put into a drawer. I mean, it was shock. Yeah. And so how did I handle it? Well, I stormed into my boss's office, and I just kind of went up one side of him and down the other. I was so mad, so mad. And what I ended up doing was quitting, which really left them in a lurch. Now, it certainly wasn't one of my shining moments. I handled everything all wrong, all wrong. So to get back to that story, but how it connects in terms of my personal journey is that I came up with, I grew up with parents who handled, I call them, they were the perfect role models of what not to do in conflict.
They were examples,
They were examples, just not the best.
Right.
My father would be triggered. He'd get really loud and in your face and stomping his hands, and he was really intimidating, especially as a child growing up. When he got angry, the world knew it. My mother, on the other hand, she would just go into herself and go silent. And I have nicknames for them that I tell them to their face. So my dad is Old Yeller, and my mom is the silencer. Oh. And I'm a product of my upbringing.
Yeah.
So how I relate that back to that incident in the workplace is I respond with the Old Yeller. I respond with the direct, the fist, the yelling, the screaming, pretty much in your face. But then there would be times when I would just shut down and I'd say nothing. I'd walk away and then ruminate about things that I might have said, could have said, wished I'd said. And so what I had to do was learn, well, after that incident at work, I realized that this was not a good approach. I mean, I was in an industry, in management. It was poor, for my own reputation. And in that industry that I was in, that office needed my license in order to operate. So it left them in a lurch, and it impacted all of my employees. Wow. So as I said, it wasn't a shiny moment. However, it was the impetus, I would say, to, okay, I need to figure out how to manage myself more effectively. I need to be a better leader. I need to improve on my communication skills. So I started my journey. And eventually, I then became a national mediator and teach it. I became an executive coach so I can help leaders who are struggling and just trying to figure out how can I be most effective in communicating and managing conflict when it shows up, or just difficult conversations,
Yeah.
right? It's not even necessarily an escalated conflict. It's the uneasiness that so many managers feel. They just don't know how to walk themselves through a process that's going to kind of ensure some stability and certainty and consistency in the dialogue, and to improve the relationship. Really, is what
Yeah.
it's all about. So there you go, in a kind of a long-winded way, but
No, I
in a
mean,
nutshell, yeah.
I love the fact that you took what could have been viewed as just a failure from the past and turned it into the fuel for your future. You know, that the things that, you know, because it just seems like in doing this over the years I've done this, when I ask someone, how did you get in the space that you're in, without fail, no matter what the space is, it's because that was the thing that they had to conquer themselves. And now it's become the thing that they help others conquer.
Definitely. And old Yeller has calmed down at his 90 years of age.
Has he ever watched the movie Old Yeller?
Oh yeah.
Because I just wonder, when you called him and you branded him that, does he know what happened at the end with Old Yeller? What they had.
I know. So I mean, that's the sad. I don't like to think about that part of it, but he certainly can have a little bit of a chuckle about it. He says, "What, you calling me an old dog?" I said, "Absolutely."
That's so good. Well, in your material, it says, let's see here, when you say better conversations create better workplaces, what's a real example, other than when you gave in your origin story, where one conversation changed the trajectory of the entire team? Do you have any examples in your works that you can say, hey, here's a real example where better conversations created a better workplace?
Yeah. This is really the stuff that I love. Lots of examples, but one that comes to mind
One you can
is,
share and not get in trouble.
yeah. I obviously have to. There's confidentiality and
Yeah, yeah.
privacy all involved in this.
Change the names
But
to protect the guilty.
change the names to protect the innocent, right?
Yeah.
Uh, there's often what happens, and this is an example, is when we go into meetings and you can hear crickets, right? Like everyone's going into the meeting. Some people are rolling their eyes. What a waste of time. What are we doing here? I got things to do. And
This could have been an email.
exactly. Yeah. Which is, these are some pieces that I work with leaders, and like how to have a productive meeting.
Yeah.
But also there's unspoken tension. There's things that are going on, and there's a politeness as opposed to, bringing the issues up. And so for a COO that I work with currently, she noticed that she was getting quite, if you call looking at conflict styles, she's a more direct person. And so in that directness, she just said, I want to get this done. This is, kind of like a bit of the my way or the highway. And we debriefed after that. And from there, she thought, oh my gosh, like that, she saw the crickets or heard the crickets. And she was reflecting on, how could I have approached this differently? So we worked through that, and then she called a second meeting. And in that second meeting, she gave the space to her team to be able to express some worries and concerns. And as I tell people, they don't necessarily have to be fixed right then and there. And leaders often think that they need to be the fixer. And so what they did was kind of regroup, address concerns that they had, what wasn't working, what support they needed. And they left that room with a very different energy and a different way in which they can start to communicate more effectively with one another. And I have since also worked with that group, the team, to help them understand the psychological safety of team and what all that means. And they've created that space now where they can learn and grow together. And so it was just an example, but it's one that comes up regularly.
Yeah. In your example, you sort of made an assessment with that particular person's personality type. Is that something that you get into to help those teams sort of understand their own and how it's different from others, so maybe misunderstandings can be mitigated? Is that something you get into?
Yeah. I mean, I have a number of tools in my toolbox, different assessments for sure.
Yeah.
But also it's not just about a style. It's not a psychological,
Right.
assessment. One that I also use is a behavioral assessment because it starts with awareness.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to learn in my journey. And I've been at this for over 20 years in mediation. And I had to start with increasing my own awareness of my fight, flight, freeze, appease.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just that, because that's the psychological piece. It's also, and the emotional piece, it's also what's my trigger? And there's a lot, like there's 9 different workplace triggers, for example.
Right.
And so it's learning and improving the awareness, which then translates into, okay, just a second here. I need to reflect. I need to step back.
Yeah.
And so, the work that I do starts with awareness building, and then it's working on behavioral changes.
Do you ever in your work, because I do a little bit of this, not a lot, but in the parts I do you ever run against trying to help the person decouple or not conflate, that is, a character flaw with a personality trait? In other words, so many times people want to say, well, that's just who I am, and it's just bad behavior. Or who you are is your personality, as you're speaking to, and that's, bad behavior is a character flaw. It's not a person. Do you ever run into that, and how do you sort of help them take that? Let's back up and look at this for a second.
Yeah, and that's a great question, and the answer is yes. What we do is we all have choices.
Yeah.
As soon as we are triggered, we have a choice of old yeller or the silencer, right?
Yeah.
We have a choice as to how we want to respond when we're triggered, when the tension rises. And we need to then decide, how does that impact that relationship based on my response? So when people say, well, that's just who I am, then it's exploring what and how do you want to be perceived by others? What does a leader, the great question is, a leader who you really emulate, like, and you appreciate, what are their characters,
right.
Characteristics?
That's
and
good.
Start to have them reflect on why that leader was so important to them. And usually it will come down to some really great and positive qualities.
Yeah.
And then they start to do some more reflection on how might I improve in those areas that really resonated with me with that particular leader.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you're getting them to look at other leaders that they appreciate and would maybe esteem, because then it can give them a vision for what leadership should look like. I like that. It's a great tool there.
Yeah, and we all have, the people who were amazing mentors in our lives.
Yeah.
And what made them so, and what aspects do we want to mentor others?
Yeah.
Right. So you move it away from self.
Yeah.
And move it out to impact. What kind of impact? What legacy do you want to leave?
Right. Yeah. I like that. If a listener is listening today on our podcast, which they are, and they are in the back of their mind hearing us talk about having these hard conversations, and maybe they're trying to avoid something right now, what is a simple framework or tool that you can give them right now that just, it's not like having you come in, and it's not like having your full attention, but just something that you could sort of help them get their head wrapped around going in and having this meeting, this conversation, and biting the bullet? What's something that you could give them of value right now?
First of all, when they're triggered, know where they're triggered, get them to, I have people start to reflect on where in their body do they feel it. And it's often the chest, the shoulders, the gut, and breathe into it. Okay. So people say, like the yoga, the mantra, the whatever.
Yeah.
Well, there's scientific proof, right? That calms the amygdala response, right? And so because until they do that, they cannot access their executive brain. So it's first of all, stop, sense where it is in the body, and then do some reflection at peace. So that means just to hang tight before responding. So when people are in the midst of it, right, rather than just walking away, they can say, you know what, I need a few minutes just to think this through. How about we come back at the end of the day, in an hour, whatever is required. And then from there, once they're thinking about it, think about then the approach. I tell people often come from a place of curiosity. Extend the olive branch and have them the other person express their needs, concerns, what's going on for them first. And in leadership, it's about listening.
Yeah.
It's not about telling. It's about listening, an empathic response, compassion. But then there's the balance of, hey, we need to get things done here.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm needing from you. So it's stop, reflect, breathe, and approach from curiosity.
Yeah. And I always find that questions go a lot further than statements,
Yeah.
because
to a point, Terry, because, you need to get work done. So when you're looking at that we, hear often, sometimes these meetings go on forever because the leader thinks that I need to ensure that I've heard everybody's voice and, we're balancing and how to make everybody happy. And that isn't the case.
Right.
The leader still needs to lead and they need to give direction.
Yeah.
So another quick tip for the listeners is I have, to think about, there's really only 3 types of conflict. There's task conflict, so what needs to be done. There's process conflict, so how do we go about doing it? And then there's the interpersonal conflict. Those are the personality clashes.
Right.
And when there's conflict stewing, starting to happen, then leaders can say, okay, just a second. Is this a task conflict or a process conflict? Move it away from the interpersonal.
Right.
And that brings the team back together to start to think, well, just a second. Yeah, we can't agree on what needs to happen, or we can't agree on how it's going to happen. That's what we need to flesh out.
Right. Right. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it away from the personality and all that, because that can be so counterproductive so many times, getting in all that. For sure.
Well, and the personality clashes are there.
Yep.
They happen just because we're all different. Recognizing that if it's not a task and a process, then it's a personality. And leaders need to be able to have those skills to help their team members flesh out what is going on for them. So it doesn't get unaddressed because it's just going to fester.
Yeah. Yeah.
We it's like you decided that you're going to buy a new car, and you see that car everywhere, right? The reticular activating system.
Yeah.
Well, that happens with conflict or personality clashes.
Everything becomes a
And the way
Rorschach
that
test.
happens is, pardon me?
I said everything becomes a Rorschach test, doesn't it? It's just like you get
Well,
triggered. I've seen this before, and then you just project on them, don't you?
Well, because then we're looking for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It really ticks me off when Terry does blank.
Right.
So every time I'm going to be looking to see whether Terry does whatever. Okay. And so what we need to do is stop that cycle and think about what are all the great things that Terry does? Right? How does he contribute to this team in a way that I don't have the same skills and aptitudes as Terry in this area. So it's a shift in what they're looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You talk about turning resistance into results. What's the difference between bad attitude and a normal human response to change, and how should leaders respond?
The difference between bad attitude and the normal response to change.
Yeah.
And how leaders respond. Leaders need to accept that people manage change differently. It's not a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a one time or one situation fits all. And so as a good leader, it's having those conversations of how to support the team or the individual in change and building their resilience. Right? How do they bounce back when things get challenging? Because change is really scary.
Yes.
Right? The unknown, the uncertainty. And when managers realize it, rather than pushing it through, helping them to and helping the managers is what I do to help their teams talk about what's coming up for them and putting some plans into place to how to manage things in a more concrete, step-by-step, chunk down level.
Right.
Because otherwise it can feel very overwhelming.
Right. Get it back into bite-size things that you can.
Bite-size, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Brenda, if one of our listeners or a lot of our listeners want to get a hold of you and employ your expertise, how can they do so?
I am Discussions by Design.
Yeah.
Brenda Hooper at Discussions by Design. You find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm definitely in there in LinkedIn. If the listeners are curious as to how these sort of skills can be implemented in their organization, so I work directly with organizations and managers and their teams. And I have the conflict and resolution leadership system, which is a process to help managers and their teams start speaking the same conflict language, right? Start understanding when things are coming up, how they can communicate it and how they can best work themselves through this. So that's a program that I offer, but it always takes a conversation, right?
Sure.
It's not something that you just click and there, go for it, because it's not about that. It's about working with teams and organizations.
Yeah, just to get it.
Yeah, so it's Brenda at Discussions by Design, or Brenda Hooper at Discussions by Design.
Brenda Hooper at Discussions by Design. So I'll put a link in our show notes there as well so people can reach out. But you've got some really, really great insights. And want to thank you for taking some time with us today to share your wisdom and expertise. Because I know our listeners, most of them are small business owners or entrepreneurs. And as someone who has ran several businesses and do a lot of the same type of work, I can tell you, culture is everything when it comes to a business. And the better we can communicate with one another, and esteem one another and understand one another, the more productive we are. And
absolutely.
you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the thing with culture is you would know, Terry, with the work that you do as well, is to talk about having a big change and the culture within the organization. Like, oh my gosh, like where do you even start? Well, it can start with a team.
Yeah.
Really, it could just start with a team deciding to grab hold of all the tools that they can to improve themselves.
Yeah.
And then it can mushroom, right? That's how it can cascade,
Yeah.
is this one conversation at a time.
One conversation at a time. I love that. Thank you, Brenda. We'll be back right after this.
Don't go anywhere. Terry will be back right after this.
Become an Elite TW3 member today and gain access to our mastermind group.
The way you get into things is, for someone like me, it's great to be around.
Terry, you have made a huge impact in my life. I'm so grateful that God has brought you into my life.
You're the genuine article. You live what you talk about.
Right now, Terry, I am so inspired after listening to you for the last 25, 30 minutes. You got me so jazzed up.
I'm still blown away by your story, because with that, you just bring so much experience.
When I think of Terry Wilson, I think about the comeback kid.
Oh, I think today is just demoed exactly the brilliance that you share.
I truly believe the only way to go to the next level is to grow to the next level.
Take your personal growth to the next level by joining the TW3 Mastermind Group today.
Well, that was episode 670, and if there's one takeaway from today, it's this. Most workplace conflict isn't about the problem, it's about the conversation. Brenda's story reminds us that leadership maturity isn't about silencing your voice, it's about sharpening it. Strength without skill creates friction. Strength with skill creates trust. Every company culture is shaped by the conversations leaders are willing to have and the ones they avoid. When we learn how to handle tension with clarity instead of force, we don't just solve problems. We raise the ceiling of what our teams are capable of. If this episode helped you rethink your communication, share it with someone that you lead, work with, or care about. These skills compound. They rippled outward into businesses, families, and communities. And if you want to connect with Brenda and learn more about her work, you can connect with her in the show notes below. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
In the barren silence of the wilderness, a single flame calls his name. One step closer, and everything changes. It is what it is. Encounters the great I am that I am.
Listen to Season 1 and other biblical teachings now at terrywilson3.org.
Running a business is tough, your to-do list never ends, and the phone keeps ringing. What if you could focus on your daily operations without worrying about missed calls? At TW3, we've got you covered with our 24/7 call answering service, starting at just $25 per month. Here's how it works. When your phone rings, our team answers every call, takes the caller's name, number, email, and reason for calling. We can even handle basic customer support, answering frequently asked questions about your business, or book appointments for you right on the spot. But it doesn't stop there. We'll immediately send you a text or email with all the details so you can follow up at your convenience if needed. Our service also filters out spam calls, giving you more time to focus on what really matters, growing your business. And here's the best part. With 24/7 availability, your customers get the help they need anytime, day or night, leaving a lasting impression of professionalism and care. Don't let missed calls slow you down. Call us at 864-507-9696 to schedule a quick demo and see how our award-winning service can work for you. Your time is valuable. Let us help you protect it.